So, we all know let's call it cheap when it comes to fishing tackle. I prefer to think that I'm budget minded. So the question is your budget for fishing causing you to not catch as many fish? Or, hey, does cheap tackle still work? Well, it depends what you call cheap. And it also depends on your budget and whether you want to catch fish or catch the most fish possible. I'll give you a few examples. Let's talk about rods and reels. A lot of guys buy combos. Combo rods and reels are very common. Go into Walmart or other big box retailers and you can buy a combo rod and reel. Now, I'm not a fan of combo rods and reels. For one, they're pretty much cookie cutter. You're stuck with whatever action they have, whatever reel they have, and you might feel like a different reel might be better on that rod. So that's why I'm not a big fan of them. Also, a lot of places you go, take the rod and reel, they put it on a shelf at a higher price, and then all of a sudden it's on sale at a much lower price because they got some type of break. Now, it makes you think that you're getting a good deal. Are there good combos out on the market? Yeah, there are good combos out on the market. I'm a firm believer that you're better off with 2 or 3 rod and reel combos that are higher priced than having 5 or 6 really cheap rod and reel combos. It's just the quality. If the rod is such that you can't set the hook, if the reel is such that you can't cast nearly as far as you could with another reel, it's costing you fish. Can you still catch fish? Yeah, you can still catch fish, but you won't catch as many fish. Let's talk about lures. There are cheap lures and there are expensive lures. There are glide baits out there that are $1,000. Do I own one? Abso-freaking-lutely not. Now, do I own glide baits? Yes, I do. Top of my price range is about $100, and that's because I'm only going to own 4 or 5 of them. Are some of the more expensive glide baits on the market worth it? They're not worth $1,000 to me. They're just not. If you're into it, if it makes you happy, great, buy them. But let's talk about some more common stuff. Let's talk about jigs, okay? I was on Facebook the other day and somebody was talking about jigs and how they catch fish on a cheap jig. Well, you know what? There's a lot of cheap jigs on the market to catch fish. Strike King, their Bitsy Bug is a little over $2. It's not a really expensive jig. It has a pretty light wire hook, a pretty small hook. You will lose some fish, but you know what? You're going to get bites. Some of the other Strike King jigs are not that expensive. You can walk into a Walmart and buy an Arky jig. It's a decent jig. It doesn't have a great big flipping hook, but if you're looking for a flipping jig, you're looking for something specialized. So you're probably not going to be saving money if you're looking for a flipping jig. If you're looking for an all-around jig and you're going to use it casting, some pitching, some flipping and stuff like that, then yeah, you can find some stuff. When it comes to other baits, spinner baits, well, you pretty much need a good ball-bearing swivel, need a good hook, hopefully a hook keeper, and a quality skirt. Now, a quality skirt to me means either hand-tied or put on with a heavy rubber band. There are some spinnerbaits out there on the market that you will pick up and you can see that that skirt's going to slide right off. So unless you tie that skirt on or super glue that skirt on, it's going to come off. It's going to cost you fish. What about crankbaits? There are a lot of great crankbaits out on the market that are very affordable. Strike King series, Cotton Cordell series, Rattle Trap brand. All that stuff is affordable. So there's probably not really a reason to go any cheaper than that. One of the biggest problems I see out there, though, is in rubber frogs. A lot of the rubber frogs made by companies you've never heard of, imported from Lord knows where, they've got terrible hooks. Yeah, you might catch a fish or two. You're probably going to bend the hooks out. So you know what? A frog is not somewhere I can save money on. How about a swim bait? Well, when I'm talking about like a paddle tail swim bait, there are swim baits that are stiffer than others and softer than others. Now, a stiffer swim bait is not a bad trailer on a spinner bait or even a chatterbait. And you know what? It can be a little bit of an advantage if it holds up better. But if I'm fishing it purely as a swim bait, I want a nice soft swim bait, something that gives me a lot of action. So there, I choose a Keitech, K-Tech, however you want to say it. Now, let's get over to the final category, and that's jerk baits. For me, when it comes to a jerk bait, it's pretty much, you got to spend a little bit of money when it comes to the suspending baits. If you're not spending the money on something like a Berkley Stunner or the Megabass, you're probably missing out on fish. There are a couple of Rapala baits that are decent, but just not for my money. It's money better spent by just spend the money, have less of them, but have higher quality. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is stick baits, Senko type of baits. I know I told you the last one was the last one, but this is really the last one. For my money, I go with two of them. First one would be Yamamoto Senko, and I know they break. I know they're more expensive. In my opinion, they catch a lot more fish than off-brands. The other one would be the Berkley General. A little bit cheaper. To me, it doesn't quite catch as many fish as the Senko, but it's right up there. It's darn close. Now, Yum Dingers, they have their purpose. They're great Texas rigged. They're okay Nico rigged and stuff like that. But if I'm fishing wacky, I'm pretty much not using them. Hey, for Steve Horvath Fishing, I'm Steve.